So this is a inspiring story about how you took something bad and you made it something good. You empowered yourself, and now you're actually teaching others how to protect themselves, how to empower themselves, and how to prevail.
Yeah, I sure am. What I want women to know is that you got to know the signs. So we're being very reactive, right? We usually do something once something bad happens, but we need to educate the public on what are the signs of domestic violence. And I think we need to do this in high school years early on rather than just wait because, as you know, many high schoolers have already experienced domestic violence. So we need to go ahead and get to them before. In my situation, I didn't know what it was. By the time I realized what was going on, it was too late.
And then it becomes a norm for them and an acceptable behavior for them. And it's one thing to really understand about abusers is they don't they don't change their colors. Once an abuser, always an abuser.
Yeah.
They very rarely are reformed because it's really all about power for them.
It sure is. Another issue we find is that it spills over into the workplace. So women, I say women because that's typically who is victimized, but it does happen to men as well. But a woman will be at work and their spouse or significant other know where they work. They know where they find them at. And next thing you know, there's collateral damage. You got somebody else in the workforce that's injured because of a situation that started at home. And there's a saying we say is what starts at home is finished at work.
What are some of the things that you teach women that you can share?
Well, I'll tell you this. Unfortunately, a lot of times I get a call from a woman who's already been a victim and they're looking for firearm training because they're afraid that their spouse or husband is going to kill them. So they're coming to me for firearm training, which obviously that's going to be the last resort. You never want to resort to that unless you have to. If you're able to get help and get out of the home, that's great. But as you know, once they leave the home, that's when things get even more deadly for them. So I get them when they come in, and I am very careful. If I get those requests, I cannot email them, I can't call them because we don't want their attacker to find out that they're trying to get help. When you go to get a restraining order, that's just a piece of paper. There's not a lot that can be done about it. I know because my daughter a few years ago was going through this herself, where she was held at gunpoint with when she was pregnant. The only reason why we got a good response was I contacted a friend of mine who's a deputy. So she had to go behind the scenes to get us help because they were just, it's nothing. Because they hear it so often. And there's a lot of false calls. People will call up or they'll call because they want to get help right away. But once you arrive on scene, as you know, then you become the bad guy.
Right.
And they don't want nothing to do with you.
Right.
And that, it affects law enforcement because
Sure.
of that. Because now you don't want to respond. You're like, oh, it's just another domestic violence call.
Right.
So it's one of those things where we got to be very easy, tread lightly with those cases.